Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for the love of dogs. Today we are going to be doing the Chinese Crested, and the Chinese Crested comes in two varieties, Powderpuff and Hairless. We'll be discussing both of them. So first, to start off, the Chinese Crested was recognized by AKC in 1991. They are 11 to 13 inches tall and 8 to 12 pounds. Their origin has not been definitively established, but it's thought that their ancestors they share with the hairless breeds, ancient hairless breed. But they are a ancient breed as going back as far as the 1500s. Allegedly, early Chinese explorers and traders took these dogs on their ships and sold them and trade them along their way. They arrived in the United States in the 1800s. Deborah Woods established the preliminary registry for the hairless breeds in the 1930s. They were shown in the miscellaneous class from 1955 to 1965, but were quickly eliminated because there was not enough entries. And they don't require much exercise, but they do love being outdoors, so going hiking and doing all sorts of activities outside they would thoroughly enjoy. And they do love being with their owners, so there are all sorts of fun things that you can get them into. But unless you have a Powderpuff Chinese Crested, they will get sunburned if they're outside, so you must put sunscreen on them or some sort of clothes or anything to keep their skin from getting burned. And I have seen a lot of people on Facebook do weight pull with their Chinese Crested, so that is something super cool and super fun that you can get into. And with the training of a Chinese Crested, like I said previously, they are very owner-derived. They love being with their owners. So if you have a great bond with your Chinese Crested, there's a lot of fun things you can get into. Like I said, weight pulling and also agility and fly ball and all sorts of fun activities you can get them into. But Chinese Cresteds are a sensitive-natured dog, so you need to be gentle with their training and be very patient with them, and don't be too harsh because if you are really harsh with them, they could end up resenting you and not listening to any of the training you're trying to do with them. But just like all dogs that I talk about, you need to get them desensitized when they're young to all sorts of things, and get them socialized with other people and other dogs at an early stage so you can go and do fun things with them. If you know you are not going to be interested in taking them to dog parks or doing anything around other dogs, you don't really have to get them socialized with other dogs. But definitely people, you don't want to have a toy breed, in my opinion, who is going to try and attack other people. Because most people with their little dogs, as I am, I bring them everywhere with me, and so if they do not like other people, that is very hard for me. And for the health category of Chinese Cresteds, like I've said in other videos, any great AKC breeder will be screening for all sorts of genetic health problems that every breed has. So just look for a breeder that says that they are AKC registered breeder, and if they have any ribbons or medals or anything doing stuff with AKC, that is definitely a breeder that you want to stick with. They do have a few genetic health problems, one being just problems with their eyes like cataracts and that sort of stuff, and luxating patellas, which is something that pretty much all small breeds have. They all have bad knees, so that's definitely something you need to keep in mind. No slips or falls within the first year. But Chinese Cresteds also have a problem with epilepsy, so that's something you need to look out for. And leg-calf Perthes disease is, I hope I'm saying that right, but it is a disease that is genetic for Chinese Cresteds, but it is not something that they can DNA test. It's something that you can sometimes see on an x-ray, so that's something to look out for as well. And of course, for my favorite part of the video, the grooming. So we'll talk about the Powderpuff and the hairless varieties separately, so it's not confusing. So for the hairless one, so they do get acne and blackheads and can get skin irritations and sunburn, so you need to be mindful and be putting lotions on them and acne creams and all sorts of stuff, but do not get some cheap acne cream and all that stuff. I would suggest finding a groomer in your area who may have a TheraClean, and a TheraClean, I have one at my shop, and I use that on Chinese cresteds who come into my work. It's something that was made in Japan, and it's like a micro bubble technology, and so the little tiny micro bubbles are the size of a white blood cell, and they get into every pore in the dog. And there's all different types of like additives that you put into the water. Like there's just a lavender relax one, and then there's one for infected skin, deskunked, and all sorts of stuff like that. So you put that in the water, and the dog just sits in it, and it's like little bubbles, and it pulls everything out of the dog. It's really good for all breeds, but Chinese cresteds are definitely a dog who have skin problems, so you need to be keeping on top of that, and a TheraClean would just be a great way to do that. And the Chinese cresteds that I groom, they come in about every 12 weeks or so, and then baths in between. People either give them baths at home and use great products. I will put links in the description to the types of shampoos and conditioner that would be best. I groom shampoo and conditioner, the charcoal one. All I groom products are sulfate and paraben free and pH balanced for dogs, so it's great on their skin and it's not going to irritate them. Like, never ever ever use human shampoo and conditioner on a dog. It's not the same pH, and it's just not very good for their skin at all. That is a good way to create skin problems. But for the Chinese cresteds that are hairless, they just really get their back shaved and a little bit down their legs, so then they have like kind of like Clydesdale feet, and their little faces shaved and their ears shaved, and then I just kind of trim around the feet. Sorry, I'm knocking everything over on my table. But so that is really just the kind of haircut you're looking at, and I would just brush, I don't know, once every other week, depending on how often. If you're bathing them, you should always bathe them and then brush them after. But if you're not bathing them super frequently, I would say bathe them probably like every other week. Maybe do 1 week of just conditioner, and then the 4th week would be shampoo and conditioner, and just do it like that so you're not putting too much shampoo on their skin. But then the Powderpuff, they will need to be groomed every 4 to 6 weeks. They are easier to brush because their undercoat is a really short hair, and then their top coat is just like a veil overlay of hair. So they're easy to brush, but they do mat very easily and frequently. Their hair is very, very soft, hence the name Powderpuff. It's just like fine hair, very silky. And with a Powderpuff, you can really put them in any haircut you want. They grow hair all over their body. I've seen people groom them like poodles, people who just keep them short. You know, you can really do anything with their hair. But of course, like any other little breed, you need to be brushing their teeth once a week and using all sorts of chews, no rawhide chews and bones and stuff, and just really anything that would be great for their teeth, and get their teeth cleaned professionally by a veterinarian. I would say after they hit like 3 years old, I would say do it once a year, but you could probably get away with not doing it so often by your vet. When they're younger, they don't build tartar as quickly when they're young. And like I always say, please cut their nails every other week. You can do it every week, every other week, definitely, for sure, so that their toenails don't get overgrown, and that affects their posture and creates all sorts of arthritis. So just get their nails cut every other week, or every week is preferred. And if there is another breed that you are thinking about looking and getting, besides just a Chinese crested or any of the other breeds I've done, please subscribe and like so that you can follow along, and maybe you'll figure out a breed that you want that you didn't even know existed or didn't know you would like or fit your lifestyle. There is so many breeds out there, and there's bound to be one that suits everybody.